Let's go on. Ghana has had higher inflation than our ECOWAS peers. So we cannot attribute it all to external factors. There must be something wrong with domestic economic management, because the other countries are experiencing the same shocks, external shocks that we are also experiencing. Now, this is data for other countries in the ECOWAS region, and if you compare, you will see that Ghana's inflation on average has been higher. Please, let's go on. Let's go ahead. Well, I've written something on the way Bank of Ghana manages inflation by using the inflation targeting framework, essentially manipulating interest rates. And that has contributed to the high, our high interest rates in the country, high cost of, doing business. So the question is whether the IT framework is appropriate, especially when you are using it exclusively as the Bank of Ghana has been doing. Please, let's go on. Let's go on. So, these are the solutions I proposed. We should have drivers of inflation in Ghana. Of course, demand pressures must also be controlled as well. And that is why monetary financing of the budget should be strictly controlled. In fact, under the IMF program, the IMF has imposed a zero ceiling on Bank of Ghana lending to government. But the Bank of Ghana Act still has 5% ceiling. Please, let's go ahead. Now, I've detailed on the exchange rate stability that we need to try and stabilize the exchange rate so that we reduce the pass-through to import prices. And then food. We have to do something about food, fuel, and transport because they are key drivers of inflation. Now, when we talk about food, if you look at our CPI basket, almost 44% of it is food. In other words, as Ghanaians, on average, 44% of our monthly budget goes to food. So if you are able to reduce food prices in this country, you'll be able to bring down inflation drastically. Steps should be taken to increase labor productivity across the public sector. Because if you pay wages which are not matched by productivity, that will be a source of inflation. And we should take steps to improve the supply chain, across the country to reduce disparities in prices. Sometimes you have some goods in the rural areas or in the northern part being cheap, but if you come down here, it's more expensive. Now, low and competitive interest rates. Again, let's keep the problem. Please, go ahead. Well, this is, data on interest rates, monetary policy rate. Well, I have the latest data after the monetary policy committee meeting, which is 29%. You look at the other interest rates, almost all of them are about 30%. You cannot be a competitive country when your interest rates are above 30%. How many businesses can borrow at 30% and be able to make profit? So we need to do something about it. Well, let me say something about the monetary policy rate, which is 29%, because that is a driver of other interest rates. It's a benchmark rate. So I was really disappointed when the MPC reduced the policy rate from 30% to just 29%. I was expecting them to decrease by at least 250 basis points. Because that is a driver of inflation, of interest rates in this country. Please, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. The costs of high interest rates in this country. Look, I place it at the doorsteps of government, Bank of Ghana. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. To propose solutions. Finding effective solutions to the persistent high interest rate should be a policy to reduce the production costs, engender private sector investments, and improve the competitiveness of the Ghanaian economy. I believe that the strategy to achieve this objective should involve collaborative efforts by government, Bank of Ghana, and then the commercial banks. First, government should reduce its borrowing from banks through fiscal consolidation in order to help bring down interest. Because what government has been doing that is been competing, for loanable funds, and this drives up interest rates. Let's go ahead. Now, government should streamline bank taxes to reduce associated costs which they pass on. There are too many taxes on living the banks, and they pass it on to higher interest rates. Government should reduce, I said, primary reserve requirement, because that's the cost to banks. The Bank of Ghana, as I said, should review the IT framework to ensure that the policy rate does not place unjustified pressure on other interest rates. I believe that interest rates are prohibitively high, and they are suffocating this economy. Credit Reference Bureau to help improve customer information, because if you don't have enough information about customers, that increases the rate of loan default and so on. And then the deposit insurance scheme also should